and this is the this is the greater omentum skinny girl. Okay, all of you have it, even you skinny bitches over there. Okay, we all have it. We didn't see it on the rat because rats don't have it, but it's a natural fat pad. It's a mesentery, a specialized mesentery that also holds fat. Obviously, mine is bigger than yours, but we all have it. So it's kind of cool. You don't want to take it off, but when you do open it up, you'll see the small intestine underneath. It's holding them in. Okay? Here's a spleen. I know there's some things I do that are cool. That's one of them. I expose the. Okay, so what I'm just going to do is cut through this diaphragm just a little bit. Okay, just so that. Okay, and I'm going to move all these organs over. So again, here's the liver, and you didn't see a gallbladder before because rats didn't have a gallbladder, but there is a gallbladder tucked in here in the liver. It's right here. This one, it's not very green, but this is it. Okay? Sometimes they're greener than others. Here's the stomach underneath here. It should be like smushy in there because they just have cat food. So what's wet cat food? Like uneventful, but we are going to open it up. And then there's the spleen. So if you move this all over, you can see a kidney. This is a large intestine. See this kidney? Here's one of them. They're retroperitoneal. Here's the other. They're huge, right? Some of them, obviously will be bigger in other cats. But there's fat around them. It's a natural fat pad to give it protection so it doesn't, roll around. That's okay. Right. This is like me. This cat's got little chunky fat chunks everywhere. Okay. Here's the bladder. And then just, of course, more fat around that because, Strangula cat, so it has to have fat. This is just better for me to dissect this way. Okay, so once you just move everything gently over, then you can go down the aorta. So remember, here we had here's the heart. We had the ascending aorta, aortic arch. Then we had the descending thoracic aorta that goes all the way until the diaphragm. This is it right here. It goes all the way to the diaphragm, and then past the diaphragm. That's why I had to kind of cut that diaphragm out. Like a little lymph node right there. You'll start to have the descending abdominal aorta. And if we follow it through, it should go down in here. This is just some dried blood. And you know how I make it look easier. All right, that's all it's taken. That's it. There's nothing exciting now. So when we're dissecting, we see this first branch. And you see, all I'm using are my tweezers. Just moving things around. This first branch that comes off the descending thoracic aorta. Can you guys see that? That's the celiac trunk that brings oxygen and nutrient-rich food to these organs in the digestive system. Okay, so if you follow the celiac trunk, now I have to usually get my head down in here. I'm sorry about that. I need bifocals, but I have to go like this. This is when I say keep your mouth closed. What?
You're in denial.
No, well, my doctor said if I don't mind doing this, I could just pull them up or get bifocals. So I'm like, why spend more money?
Yeah.
These glasses only cost me $6.99. I remember I told you about that. So why buy? So I'm not in denial. I know it, but I have to do this. Okay. And though this is when I say keep my mouth shut because this is when I get pieces of cat in me exactly now, as I chew my gum and. So this is why I don't want you to take any organs out because we want to go and look at the blood vessels going right to the organ. So here's the spleen. So you can see, I guess if you're close to me, that these two are going right to the spleen. So these would be branches off the splenic artery. Then here's the stomach right here. What was that? What's happening?
Nothing.
And you'll see this is the gastric artery. And then there'll be one deeper one going to the liver. Even though I said you can't see it, you really can if you know what you're doing. It's this one, which is the hepatic. So this small piece from here to here, it's pretty big, it's like a half an inch, that's the celiac trunk. And then there are 3 branches off of that.
There was 3 branches.
There was.
Where are you? Sorry.
Not so much anymore.
Yeah. The hepatic. And won't be using this one for the practical. The hepatic, the gastric, and then right here the broken splenic. But my point is, if you do follow the organs, you can see where they go. Okay? So then the next branch off the, I have to go this far back to see what the class is on, off the descending abdominal aorta is the superior mesenteric, and that goes to the small intestine. So when you move this, you should get some small intestine moving to help you remember. The third branch would be renal, going to the kidney. So you can see the renal vein, no trouble, and the renal artery is a lot smaller. I'm so afraid to break anything now. I'm just being, I can't really see unless I'm so close. I'm being like an Amazon. Well, it should be right there, the renal artery. I don't want to go crazy, but it is. And then we keep going down the descending abdominal aorta. I can't see. I'm afraid. And the last branch goes to the large intestine right here. Yep, look at you going in without any gloves. That's my girl. This is the inferior mesenteric. How'd you know about that? You read it ahead? You read ahead in your lab book because you're so good? You are the best student ever, except for Tamika. She's my bestest. Okay. So, oh, sorry. Isn't that my gum on video? Okay, so 4 branches off the descending abdominal aorta. Celiac trunk, and then it has 3 branches, hepatic, gastric, the broken splenic. Superior mesenteric to the small intestine, and then some back in here, inferior, or renal to the kidney, and then inferior mesenteric, which is very small and easily broken, so don't be like me, to the large intestine. And then you continue down. Now this descending abdominal aorta is not very fuchsia. It's a light pink. You can see it because you're close. Right, Basha and Sonia, but it's not that screaming at you. Then the other thing you can see is the inferior vena cava, which is blue, and then the only thing we can see here is the renal vein. And that's it. So now, I have to turn this again. We're going to see where the inferior vena cava and the descending abdominal aorta branch. So we got to go past this fat wad that I love. And we go down into one leg. Look, this is the kidney, this is the bladder, this is the ureter that brings the urine that's made in the kidney to the bladder. Okay, so I can cut that? Good. And I don't usually ask you gonadal unless it's a female and it goes to the ovary. So this is a male, so I'm not going to ask you that. Just to let you know. And when you do those models, remember I mentioned to you last week maybe that if it's a nubbit, I'm not going to ask you. Mm-hmm. Remember that? Because, you know, you can't work with nubbits. Because like the celiac trunk's on there on those little nubbit things. It's probably a nerve. And when you see the branch right here, so when I leave, they'll clean it up better, so it'll be screaming at us. But you'll see these little guys that go in. These are the internal iliac arteries, and then you have the cat's right and left external iliac artery. There are no common iliac arteries in the cat. And then that external iliac becomes the femoral, becomes that continuum. So the external iliac becomes the femoral and the thigh, and popliteal behind the knee. I'll let you keep going at that, okay? As far as the veins go, we have the inferior vena cava that then is going to branch to the cat's left and right, and the inferior vena cava is going to branch to the left and right common iliac veins. So there are common iliac veins in the cat and in the human, but not common iliac arteries. So we kind of got to go underneath the, what are these called? The aorta. These little words I can't remember. And when you do that and you see that branch, this first part really close to the inferior vena cava, right at the branch, is the common iliac vein. And then the internal is not these cute little things that go right here, but it's deeper. You might be able to see it if you're right here. See how I can go up and then like something stops it, and see if I can.
This makes me nervous.
See how that is? Like, see this quiz? What?
Yeah, because
No.
you're like digging yourself
No.
hard.
See this little one that goes right in there? It's really hard to see. It's deep.
Mm-hmm.
That's the internal. It's very hard to give a quiz question on that. I mean, like it's so deep in there. So this would be common. Common is right when it branches. That's easy. And then this is common right here. And then that part that sticks in all the way down, it's too tough to even test you on, would be internal. And then if you continue, it's external, femoral in the thigh, popliteal behind the knee. But I don't think it got latex in its veins in the thigh. See, it's like nothing here. It's just this color. So I think we had a pleater. So that's as far as we can go with this guy. The other thing you could see is that great saffronous, the longest vein in the human body. It's on a cat. It's really superficial here. Like it's here for you. Doesn't have any latex.